So, what's the best way to market a comic? If you're doing something new, how do you get the word out? How do you get people to even understand that comic's out there? And can you approach a comic shop directly? Is it best to just stay online? There's a lot of choices you have to make. Hey there, this is Perch. I get questions from time to time about how best to promote a book. And unfortunately, you have kind of these what people often call a stair step approach to how comics get marketed, which is there's a lot of kind of parallel activity, and then somebody discovers something new, some new method to get a book out, and then it's successful. And a lot of people then follow suit, and there's a big kind of gold rush, if you will, to getting that stuff done, and then it loses its effectiveness over time. We move back into that parallel state where nothing much is happening until we get the next innovation in marketing. And if you're starting out new, you've got a comic book, you produced it yourself. Okay, this isn't a video about pitching your concept to a publisher or to somebody else. This is you've made a comic and you want to get the word out for your comic so you can get it sold. Now, you're going to want to take, or you're not wanting to, you have to take one of two approaches or both simultaneously. Either you're going to sell it completely online, in which case you're going to go for some kind of crowd-funded model where you're going to try and draw attention to your campaign. You're going to try and sell that way. Maybe it's not crowd-funded, but you've got your comic up in a digital store somewhere. So you're using online methods completely disconnected from a comic shop to get word out and attention about your project, your comic. And there's a lot of different tools you'll use. The other way is if you're trying to get this sold inside of an indie bookstore or inside of a comic book shop. And here's where it's a much more personal face-to-face. I've got something, you want to sell it and carry it. Here's what you need to do. Both of these topics could be an hour each. So I'll provide kind of an overview. And then what I'll look to do is trust that, for those of you who've liked, subscribed, please subscribe to let me know you like the channel, but more importantly in the comments below, tell me where you want to learn more about which direction you want to go in. I'm going to start with kind of the easier one first. If you're trying to get your book into a store, into a brick and mortar location, well, this is, first of all, you just have to understand you're starting from a very small scale. Your time, your ability to scale is limited on you. You don't have the physical ability to visit every single comic shop in the country personally. So either you're going to be trying to do a blanket email approach, which is fairly ineffective generally. First of all, there's not a good directory of all the comic shops, all the indie book shops out there where you can just go to some directory and just grab a big distribution list of all of them and send a nice email out to everybody. That doesn't exist. You can certainly go and try and appeal to different Facebook groups and different kind of concentrations of retailers, but the online approach is rarely successful, especially if you're not a known name. And simply because there's so much noise, you can't cut through that noise. It's very hard to just get anybody's attention in that world. So your chances are you're talking about a regional approach. You're talking about approaching the different comic shops, the different bookstores in your area. Now, you might say to yourself, why would I even want to do this? It sounds like, there's no way I'm going to get rich doing this. It's a very small scale. Well, if you're starting out new and you've never done this before, you don't have a book under your name, nothing like that, it's very useful to approach the brick and mortar stores. You get some experience in actually selling your goods to a person. It allows you to brush up on your skills of talking to people and making a deal and delivering on commitment and all these kind of different, what a lot of people call soft skills, but that's not really the best way to do it. These are important things for you to learn and to do. So I highly advocate that if it's your first time, kind of put on your nice outfit, go into a comic shop, approach them. I've done other videos on this, but get that relationship where you can sell something in the store. Even if it's not terribly successful, even if you don't make a lot of money, that experience is helpful. And it's also going to help you with your next step. Because if you are going to try and promote your book online, then you're looking for little aspects that give you credibility over others. You're looking for advantages that you have that others do not. And so one of the absolute best ones is to say, as seen in stores or as sold in a store. It doesn't sound like a big deal, but most people don't have this. If you actually look at the majority of crowdfunding campaigns out for comics, you will see almost none of them have the, you know, this comic was, was sold in a shop, or this creator had comics sold in a shop. Those things help. Even if you're putting your thing onto Comixology, or you're going through a different digital distribution source, being able to have the bragging point of my comic was sold in shops. It doesn't really matter whether it was sold in 1,000 shops or it was sold in 5 or 1. Just being able to claim that experience is super useful to you, and it's worth the effort to do it. Now, like I said, I've done other videos on how to approach a comic shop and when some days are better than others and how you do it. But generally speaking, if you have yourself professionally kind of cleaned up, you have your book there, you have a easy to digest system of here's some books, I will give them to you. I think, keep in mind, a lot of creators will tell you never give anything away. It's a bad thing. No, I'm not saying you give anything away. But if you walk in and you say, I'd like to sell these on pure commission, so I'm going to give them to you, and then you're going to give me, if you sell them, you're going to give me some money. If you don't sell them, I'll take them back, or whatever happens to go on. That's not a bad way to go. Again, at a very small scale to build your reputation, saying I've been published, is another big one. Saying I've sold my comics into stores, it tells people you actually have interacted with consumers, you've gone through the process of talking to somebody, of making a business deal. These things are all very, very important. If you're taking that second route, how do you market online? How do you get people aware? The problem that you have is just, it's related to what I just said. There's just so much noise out there that it's hard to get attention for your book. It's hard to get anybody, why would anybody pay attention to you over the 800 other things? When there's funny videos of cats that people can watch, why are they going to pay attention to your book? And unfortunately, while crowdfunding has proven successful for many, there's now so many of them, and a lot of the crowdfunding books have a Me Too kind of aspect to them, that you're fighting against a very crowded pool. And the old things of, see the book. I've watched some people put in, see the book that Marvel and DC would never publish. That's no longer a strong selling point. You might say, well, wait a minute, that works for some of the bigger names out there, but the operative word there is they're bigger names already. So whether their marketing for their books relies heavily on their names, even if it looks like they're doing other things, it's their name that's doing the majority of the work. You don't have that advantage. So you've got to think of other things to benefit you. That's where I go back, being able to say, this comic has been in stores. Oh, people think, well, this must be a little bit better then, because there still is this feeling of, oh, well, if it's in stores, it must be better. This is not necessarily true, but that perception helps. And then there's other elements like, there's a lot of little things you can do. Another one that I've seen work very successfully is better identify how your book is different from others, or more appropriately, what it's like. With so much noise in the channel, it helps if you can get people to say, this book, if you liked X-Men House of X, then this book has that same feel to it. Help guide people into what your book is about and how it's different, and leverage those. I mean, if you think about search data and metadata and other things, I mean, call these books out. People who are searching for Deathstroke, make sure that your book is coming up on those search terms. And we can go more into that at a later date of kind of the how you use SEO and how you use some of these different technical components to get more exposure to your book. But in general, I just want to set an overview here of kind of the basics of how this stuff gets done, how the two routes that you have to take, and why each one has some advantages and disadvantages. So this is a somewhat incomplete video. I just wanted to throw the concept and the topic out there. And I'm going to be doing this with more things where I kind of put an overview out, and I rely on you, the person listening, to tell me where you want to go. Do you want to go deeper or shallow? That's what I'm interested in hearing about, and I will provide all the data that you'd like. Anyway, like I said before, subscribe. Subscribing helps me know that you're out there. That's great. I really appreciate it very much. And you can follow me on Twitter at Comic Perch, or just shoot me a note over there. And most importantly of all, thanks for listening.